the real world.
Okay, so I don't normally make videos but like this, but like it's, as you can see, it's 3:30. I've worked on this project for 3 hours doing this entire thing. I learned how to rig and animate. I've already known how to do this. That was the main thing, was rigging, animating, getting the each of the EV forms stacked up on top of each other to where it wasn't like obviously just photo stacked, and it actually had like overlaying parts, and there were parts in it that you can't see but I know where it is. It looks bad, but whatever. I'll show you my process of this. It took me 3 hours to do this. So what we have here is the essential final edit. I do my main editing in Premiere. So it initially started out in Photoshop, getting each one of the ones into its own layer and then figuring out the order I wanted it in. Now obviously I could have done it in Photoshop, but I don't know how to use Photoshop. That was just the main part of getting these figured out. And after that we go to Illustrator, and this was the final verdict essentially. So if we remove the text in the background, we still have the rock showing. This is the final verdict of why did I say verdict? This is the final stack. Each EV form, essentially I stacked on top of each other, and I had to do special, like in special spots, you'll see like these colorings. I had to do it just so it actually look a bit cleaner. So the overlay, I'd like use an eraser tool to go around. We'll use Sylveon as the example here. Actually we'll do this right here. So right here we'll see that if I remove this blue, see this section right here and down here, it all of a sudden kind of looks bad. So all I did was just recolor in using the eyedropper tool, and going back and just coloring underneath it, then putting it down on its own layer. That was the main part of it. And then if we look at the rock here, just took an image of a rock, took some of the colors from it, and just made it to where they're laying on top of it, but not realizing that wasn't going to use it, because it looked weird if the rock stretched as well whenever I did the rigging. So I then went through, I removed the rock, so it was just that. So the full still image, you can see the rock here. I don't know why I displayed that. Full image, the text was actually supposed to be up here for the initial one, but going through, getting rid of it. This was the initial art piece behind it. Got kind of inspired to do it off of one I saw. So the text is its own thing, and then we see I took, I don't know what that one is. Took leaves and decided if I could find whatever layered on, it's literally right here, to take each individual leaf, put its own little section, and I was like, yeah, I like that. And obviously there's a lot more than the original animated one. That's just because lazy and first time doing it, so I kind of didn't want to animate this many, so I did 4, cutting it down, making them bigger. If we take away the leaves, we can see what the background is, just a basic green stacking to the sky. Did the favorite little moon trick with this. Obviously it was kind of a sloppy one. You know, it happens. Sloppiness happens every now and then. Does look kind of bad, but that's oh well. Mountains are basic, and then each of the trees are just copy paste of one with the colors, so the stem wouldn't always show. So that's the initial artwork. Now if we come here to After Effects, this is the final rigging. So instead of making a bunch of different rigs and saving it all as different files, I just delete the whatever you call it, the keyframes, and I just go through and make new ones. This is the 4th one I made. As we see, I tried to make the front end of it like shake a bit more, like it was being more affected by the wind, like it'd be a bit smaller of a one. And then for the EV one, the rigs essentially just, I initially started with rigs like essentially everywhere. I think I could put one here on the head, the neck, and then I realized that was too much, so I just did the little feet wobble on the initial one. I figured the stretch would be enough to kind of show that'd be too much. Making sure I had one up on Flareon up at the top there, just because you want to make sure that the top kind of like showed that it'd be tilting a bit. So that was the initial rigging on that. So if we come here, we see I have a bunch of different nested sequences. So if we come to this one, I took the moon and the clouds and gave them their own little animation. Thought that'd just be nice, and the moon's center point is offset slightly, and the clouds are all linked together so they all have the same movement. Here we have just the rock with the wobbling evolution tower, just to set those together. And this one is each individual leaf set, so I would do like, this would be leaf 1, this would be the leaves 2, 3, and 1 and 4. So if we come back to, let's actually go ahead and close some of these out. Here's my text. So what I did is I gave it a little bit of spacing. At the start there'd be a little bit of a break, and then it's space and space and space. Go ahead and close out some of these so I can actually do what I'm working with. And then if we come back to here, just taking all of them, setting them on top of each other. And the text, I made sure there was a little break at the beginning and the end. And what I did for each of the rigs is I made sure that the start point and the end point would be the exact same, so it'd be a seamless loop. Made sure that was my primary focus of this. And then the text, what I did for that, all that was I have a preset effect. This glitch by Cinecom.net. They have a really good glitch effect. It's just a standard one that I use. And yeah, that's essentially I don't know what I'll use this all for. I mean, I love this thing. I made it into a GIF, using it currently as my Discord server emote or profile picture, which if you're not in the Discord, you should come join. So it's kind of nice. It's normally pretty quiet. It's pretty peaceful. I love it. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.